Welcome to our weekly program, The Inside Story of Chabad in America through the Middle Archives. I hope all electronic media will listen to today's program. This is at the end of the letter, it's a very short letter. I will share with you something very special. The letter of the Rebbe that I will be sharing with you today reflects the general emphasis of Chassidus and what the Rabbi, since the Alter Rebbe was working before the coming of Mashiach. Some of us remember the joy, the simcha that the Rebbe had by Farbrengen when he was presented with the Tanya in Braille, because now it's reaching more people, even the blind people, which is mamish chutza, your futzo meinesecha chutza. So today I want to share with you a short letter from the Rebbe as a preparation before the Yomim Tovim, before Rosh Hashanah, before Yom Kippur, before Sukkot, before all the Yom Tovim. And that what the Rebbe suggested should be done, and he suggested this to Mr. Herman Woke. So after reading the letter, I will share with you something. So first let me just read the short letter. This letter, the Rebbe wrote, the Rebbe signed it, to the Jewish Braille Institute of America. The Rebbe writes like this: greeting and blessing. Thank you very much for your letter of the 29th of Av. I was highly gratified with your prompt and favorable response to my suggestion through our esteemed mutual friend, Mr. Herman Woke. Mr. Woke was a very famous author. He wrote many books. He was very close to the Rebbe. We have many correspondence. I think maybe after Yontif we'll have to have a few programs about the correspondence between Mr. Woke and the Rebbe. He was very close to Rabbi Midel also. So the Rebbe wrote to him to make available for the blind and visually impaired the section of the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch in English that deals with the month of Tishrei, with the preparations for it in the later part of Elul, and that you are in the process of recording this material and making it available in Hebrew and English in the form of audio cassettes. I hasten to call your attention to the fact that while these and similar cassettes are very useful on weekdays, the use of cassettes on Shabbos and Yom Tov is prohibited by the Shulchan Aruch, and the Rebbe underlined that. The prohibition does not apply, of course, to transcripts in Braille and magnified print. Indeed, since users of cassettes may not be aware of the said prohibition, and the Rebbe underlined that, it would be right and proper that all such cassettes should be accompanied by an appropriate announcement that the cassettes may be used during weekdays only, and he underlined, and not on Shabbos and Yom Tov, and again the Rebbe underlined. It is the media of Braille and enlarged print that I had primarily in mind when I made my suggestion to make the material available before the coming high holidays. I am sending this letter via special delivery in the hope that the above measures can be implemented in time before the high holidays in both Hebrew and English edition. I take this opportunity of extending to you and all who are associated with the Jewish Braille Institute of America the traditional blessing to to the inscribed for a good and sweet year in all respects, particularly for a growing measure of atzlocha in your activities in behalf of the visually handicapped, with esteem and blessing, and the Rebbe signed his name here. Now another letter, also written to the Jewish Braille Institute of America, written 2 weeks later, the Rebbe writes, I'm just going to read one paragraph. The same applies, of course, also to cassettes, on Chumash, where the commandment to keep the Shabbos holy is repeated many times, and it would be a breach of this commandment to play the cassettes on Shabbos and on Yom Tov. And then the Rebbe signs, he gives a bracha signs, but I'm not going to read this now. So this is a letter to the Jewish Braille Institute. Now, why am I reading this letter today? First of all, we see how the Rebbe was concerned about the blind people, and the Rebbe wanted special delivery. And the reason that the Rebbe wanted special delivery is because to make sure that it should say in the cassette that they should not use it on Shabbos and Yom Tov. And number two, and this is what I want to bring out today. A few weeks ago, no, probably a couple months ago, this was in Tammuz, June, July. I was sitting in a waiting room in a doctor's office. There were many people there. So there was a couple sitting, and I see they were staring at me. So, or they recognized me, or they wanted to ask me something, I don't know what. So I felt I should come over to them. So I came over to them, and I said to them, you staring, I mean, do I look familiar? I never saw you. They said, yeah, you look familiar, we don't know where we saw you. So first of all, I asked them, are you Jewish? So they said they are Jewish. So I said to them, you probably maybe saw me on Har Sinai. God gave the Torah, the Ten Commandments on Mount Sinai. And all the Jews that ever lived were there. So they said, yeah, but we are Reformed Jews, so we were not there. Only Orthodox Jews were there. That's what they told me. So I told them, I'm telling you how the conversation went. So I told them, I said, a Jew is a Jew. Anyone that has he or she, Jewish mother, is Jewish. And they come, and Yisrael, I told them, is the abbreviation. I explained to them, Yud, Shin, Reish, Aleph, Lamed. Yud is Yitzchak and Yaakov. Sin is Sarah. Reish is Rachel and Rivka. Aleph is Avraham. And Lamed is Leah. Everyone that has a Jewish mother comes from Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Avraham, Sarah, Rachel, Rivka, Avraham, Leah. Everybody comes from the Ovis and the Mois. So we were all in Har Sinai. Since they said they reform, and so I was trying to figure out, how I should be able to approach with them. They never saw me. So in the middle of talking, the wife says to me, oh, I think I saw you. I saw you on COL live. That's what she tells me. She remembers. And she admires the Rebbe. She says the Rebbe, and she tells me Gem, she watches other Jewish programs. And when does she watch? When does she turn on? On Saturday. Because the whole week they work. Saturday, most of the time, is on Saturdays. They all come together, she and friends, and they open up the internet, and they watch it. So she saw me there. So I told them that Shabbos, I would prefer that you should not watch on Shabbos. They didn't know. He said, we didn't know. I said, you cannot open a computer, you cannot open a internet, you cannot open a light. It's Chilul Shabbos, and I explained to them. And they accepted it very much, and they will not do it. So after reading this letter, And after what I spoke to them, I would suggest that the whether it's COL or GEM or other programs or speakers should say before they open, when they open, they should say, please do not use on Shabbos and Yom Tov. I think it would be very good, and people are going to listen. It doesn't say there, and I think the Rebbe would like that this should be. I remember I was in Long Island, so we had over there, we gave out Purim, we gave out Shalach Monis. Purim was Friday. So we made 600 kids Shalach Monis. And then after we sent to the Rebbe a copy. So the Rebbe right away answered that we should put in that you should be careful with Shabbos. Because since Friday is Purim, and maybe they might carry after on Shabbos, so we always have to remind the people, please don't carry on Shabbos. And this is the Shita of the Rebbe. So I think that we should make a hachlota. All the media, the computer, internet, especially the Jewish ones, and the speakers, that they should, whenever they speak, they should be right away, please do not use on Shabbos and Yom Tov. You will prevent many people of Chil Shabbos. They should be the hachlota, and I think it's very important now to speak about that. Now, related to this, I want to mention, when I was in Long Island, I had an adult education class. They asked me that they want to come to my house, I live in Crown Heights, to Pesach and the Seder. So I asked Rav Dvorkin, all of Hasholoms on Ogishet, he was a big Rav. I asked him, what should I do? So Rav Dvorkin told me, this is from a Rav, you have to have, let's say if you have 20 people, you have to have 20 beds ready. Then you can tell them, you can come, and otherwise they should not come to the Seder. And he mentioned to me then, it's like going to the mikveh, which you want to become tahir, and then holding a sheretz. So you can't go to a Seder by driving on Shabbos, on Yom Tov or Shabbos. So Rabbi Dvorkin told me then that I should try to see, and if we can't, we can't. You can't help it. Now, I think a few months ago on my program, I mentioned about a telegram that somebody asked the Rebbe, was about Rosh Hashanah, that there be a big kiruv, that they invite people to come, but they're going to come in a car. So the Rebbe answered, I think I read you the telegram, and the Rebbe was very upset by even him asking that the people to come by a car, in other words, it's better not to come than come with a car. Rabbi Dvorkin also mentioned to me then about parking lots, about their people that have parking lots open on Shabbos and Yom Tov, and he doesn't, and that's something that he said it shouldn't do. Now, someone told me that years ago, Harav Shochat from Toronto, he spoke Kol Nidrei, before Kol Nidrei, and then there were people coming with a car and and Yom Tov. So he says, the first thing he said, I would appreciate if you don't come with a car, but if you came with a car, leave the car here, try to walk back, and if you'll get any tickets on the car or you'll be towed, it's my responsibility, he will pay for it. This is how he said. So, believe it or not, many people walked back, and they felt how it's called like Yotzei min halev, Nichnas al halev. He meant, and this is how I think. And many people, come to shul or the Chabad houses or whatever, and they don't even know that the shluchim or the rav, they don't say a word about coming with a car, and that's something that you're not allowed to. So the Rebbe would be listening to this letter, the Rebbe was very, very much concerned that the cassettes, that they should not be used on Shabbos. So I'm sure that by doing all this, the right thing, and you'll, as much as shluchim have atzlocha in their work, by doing the right thing, they'll even have double atzlocha. And that's why I wasn't supposed to speak today. I said last week that I would be away before Rosh Hashanah, but something happened, and I found this letter, and I'm here Rosh Hashanah. So I used this program to share with you this, and I wish everybody would have a ksiva v'chsima teva. We should do the right thing for the right reason. And now we're getting to Shnas Hakhel, and the last thing that the Rebbe spoke was Shabbos Vayakhel, and the Rebbe spoke about Tzedakah, the Rebbe spoke about Avos Yisrael. So we should have a year of Achdus Yisrael and Avos Yisrael, and that will speed up the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days, B'meir v'yomeinu, and we all should have a Gizunti Yor and a Freilach Yor, L'shana Teva Mesuka Begashmis u'Meruchnis, Gam Yochad.